patriots, Nigeria. Patriotism is one of the things we need to revoke again in our nation. I love Nigeria and I love Nigerians. I'm also very grateful to the Lord, the Almighty God, for blessing our country right now with a father president. Is not a small thing. Clap well, oh, clap well. Want to build the kind of nation that we're singing about in our national anthem. The way to change a nation is to change the people, nothing else. The people. Personal transformation is what aggregates to national transformation. So help spread the salt, the good news, be the agent of change and be the change first that you want to see. Model it and then teach it. Start an initiative, start an NGO, start a social project, start something. Even if it's a business, use the business as a platform. So a successful business is not the one that makes money, only money. It's one that makes people while making money. As you rise, always look down to other young people that are coming up and take a couple of them in your net and mentor them up. Can you imagine? I started a project a few years ago. Prof inspired me in that direction, just to produce 300 PhD holders from ordinary young people. And we're getting close to that. When we hit that, I will extend it to 1,000 in different fields. So, what to do is so much that needs to be done. When we see you next year, I want to see a result of what you're doing. And once you start something and it's working, let us know. We'll give you the platform to share it. You don't have special heads. You find something, you have tested first in a micro level. Test it within and it's working. Let us know. So that other people will learn, other people will be inspired. Today, we are adding a dimension, a capping to this conference. What we want to bring is the concept of accountability. understanding of the timing we're living in, the time for Africa, the time for this nation, and the concept of accountability. Because this is how God Almighty operates. He gives you responsibility and assignment, like you all have a purpose in life. Then he gives you authority with resources to get that job done. And then he allows time to pass. Then a season completes. He comes back to bring the third element, accountability. You see, our leaders that are given power, authority, is given to them because of God does not give people power, just power. He gives you a responsibility. Then he gives you the power, the equipment you need to carry it out. Let me give you an example. Where you find injustice and oppression in a nation or in your community or in a company, you can't fight oppression without power. When you fight it, power crushes you. So God's solution to injustice is to raise somebody and give him power. He wants him to tackle that and free the people that are being disadvantaged and oppressed. If you see people in poverty, if you see people sick, if you see people with illiteracy, if you see people disadvantaged in one way or the other, these are people in one form of problem or another. You need a form of power to help. It might be intellectual power. It might be spiritual power. It might be political power. It might be economic power. When you are given economic power, for example, it's not just for you. A portion is for you. The rest is for the people you are sent. When you are given political power, it's not for you. Your purpose of power is service. Nothing else. Your purpose of power is justice administration. With power, you can fight the strong and save the oppressed. I don't mind using this opportunity to make this statement that a lot of our people that God has taken and blessed with one form of power or another, wealth, political power and other influence. Look at talent. Look at talent, the power of talent. You have that musical voice, or you have beauty, the power of beauty, for example, or and you go into the entertainment industry. It's not for you to destroy your country. You start bringing movies that will corrupt the youths, bring music that corrupts the minds of the young people. Do you know what is going on? Every day I open the newspaper, there is a rape case. I don't know how many of you have been following. Every day, in recent time, yesterday's own, it was a 77-year-old man that raped a little girl, a grandfather. A few days ago, it was even a father that was raping the daughter, and it was a 6-year-old girl, and dashing her 10 naira per rape to keep quiet. Now, you will wonder, why are we having escalation of violent sex activities? Because one power given to humanity is being abused. The internet. The information revolution that came is not for us to use it to pump obscenity, pump immorality. No. But that's what is going on. And because it's so available, handsets, anywhere. That's how talent power, that's how political power, that's how economic power abuse there. But what people don't know is that the Almighty God, the owner of the universe, the one that endows men with gifts, endows men with beauty, has a day of accountability. And he has it in two dimensions. There is one that will come in life while you are still alive. Then there is the ultimate one after this life. That's why there is hell. That's why there is heaven. Both Christians and Muslims know about heaven and hell. Every human being is made in the image of God. Why Why do we want to kill somebody in the name of God? No need for that. And society is scattering. Even religion has purpose. Everything has purpose. Once something is taken away from its purpose, is now abuse. Religion, the most important purpose of religion, is to do in society what no other institution can do. Government cannot do it, which is changing people's nature and to produce people that are godlike, who reproduce virtues and values that you find in the Almighty God. Values like love, like justice, like integrity. Those things that are listed in our national anthem. We just sang it now. To build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. All the values in our national anthem, they are the qualities that the Almighty God himself possesses. He is a just God. He is also a merciful God. To produce values like mercy, compassion in us. If we see people we are better than, if we see people that are down, we help. To produce values and a sense of justice and equity in us. To produce values like love. To produce values like respect for our fellow human beings. If religion fails to do that, that religion has failed. What actually means is that, like a gun is meant for protection. You give it to the policemen and our security agents to use it to protect the society. But the same way, that gun can be used to rob people. Now, everything has purpose. Everything. A pastor can convert religion to a tool of corruption, of ripping people off. When he finishes, accountability day is coming. Office of a pastor doesn't exempt a man from going to hell. Every form of power is for service. Of course, when service is rendered, usually a return, a blessing usually comes back to the person. When you remove something from its purpose, for example, a policeman that is meant to protect society, when you also see abuse of religion, whether it's Christian religion or any religion, don't copy that. Because at the end, that man is going to face accountability. A day of accountability is coming. And it starts here. But then after this life, people are going to answer for what they did with their beauty. Use it to seduce as many men as possible. Your day is coming. People are going to answer for what they did with power. People are going to answer for what they did with spiritual power, offices that God gave them so they can guide the society aright. Can you imagine if every religious leader understands the purpose of religion? What will happen to Nigeria? Can't you see that the professors of religion are corrupt? Because it's not in profession. It's not in profession. That's why I'm praying for our president to succeed. Because he does, if he does, he's going to join a class of leaders that are very rare in Africa. The Mandela class. That are not obsessed with power, but with the purpose why they are giving it. Because so far, look at a man that has been a minister of petroleum, a man that has been a commander-in-chief, a man that has held all kinds of offices. I was somewhere when some people were complaining about his declaration of assets. And I said, are you complaining about this? Don't you know, politician, if this is truly what he has, it means we have a saint among us. Of course, we have a saint. That is a standard that should be used for African politicians. Do you know what it means to sit over the petroleum industry and you finish? Do you know what that means? Do you know what it means to be a commander-in-chief? Do you know what you can do with power? All the money you could not make, even if they give you 1,000 years to live, you can make in 1 week. That's why I'm praying for him to succeed, because I have studied power. I have seen how it destroys people. A lot of good people come in there with good intention. I need to explain something to you. A British lord called Lord Action said power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Now, over the years, because we have seen Napoleons, we have seen Hitlers, we have seen the Idi Amins, we have seen, in Nigeria, we have the Abachas, we have seen all kinds of people that handled power. They destroyed the people they were supposed to serve, many of them. Under Idi Amin, I think over 300 lives were wasted. We've seen all kinds of stories that you read. Sometimes 1 million people goes. We have seen the Hitlers. We have seen. So history is filled with this. So research has been going on for over 1,000 years now on the subject of power. How does a person handle it? With, first of all, what happens is that they destroy the people they are meant to serve. They destroy themselves ultimately. How does a person handle power and not be destroyed by it? How does a person handle power and not be corrupt by it? I went in study of the research work that has been done. I saw amazing things. But very simple secrets have been brought out for handling power and at the end of the day being a blessing and passing the test of accountability when God comes to check you. And it's not just God, when history judges you. Because it's not what you say about yourself. When somebody sits there, it is the next generation, you guys. When they finish, they will come out of it. You are the ones that will write their certificates, their reports. It's not the defense they are making now. I went to speak to my governor, former governor, after he was inaugurated, I said, listen, power does not end with the state. Why don't you position yourself to go all the way, to be the transformation, go in a different direction from what the other ones are doing. He knelt and I gave him a vow. Because what I shared with him was the essence of life, wasted life and invested life. There are things people will be saying. Sometimes they criticize, sometimes, but after you leave, after a while, history now assesses you. And then beyond that, the ultimate power, God Almighty, he has his time when he will judge. So studies were made. How do you handle power and leave a blessing behind and not be destroyed by it? They found a couple of things. Let me share maybe one or two with you, and then I'll get out of here. One of them is they found out that people arrive in office virgins and they leave it defiled. That a lot of people come in with good intention. Actually, there are usually very few that come in with very bad intention to come and destroy their country or impoverish the state or steal everything. A lot of people come in, but because of the corrupting influence of power. Even the ideas, corrupting ideas, you don't generate by yourself. Some other people around that power will start bringing it into you. They will suggest it to you. They will create proposals and bring for you. So one of the things they found out about how to manage power, they said power is like X-ray, like gamma rays. A little dose of it in a controlled form can pass through your body and it becomes a medical help. But if you're exposed to it for too long, over a long period of time, it destroys the man. What is meant to help? Even this X-ray they use in the hospital. 2 more dose of it will destroy, because it can turn your cells into cancerous cells. That's power. A little dose of electric power, you can touch it, shake it, like the one in the battery and a few others. You might touch your tongue, it will shake you. But a long exposure to it will destroy the person. So they have found that one of the keys to handling power is don't be exposed to it for too long. So they created what is called transitions and elections. Let me tell you the purpose of election. Why is it that we have to go back every 4 years? One of the reasons is that man that has ignored the electorate, has ignored them for 4 years. At the end of 4 years, he has opportunity to step out to come and beg the people for another chance. Another thing that happens is that at the end of that 4 years of transition, whatever type, I don't care whether you are leading a Christian fellowship or leading anything, you should have seasons when you leave. There's what is called sabbatical season. Every 7 years, get out of what you're doing. Do a sabbatical. Focus on another direction. It gives you opportunity to do an assessment. There is a blinding influence of power. The man that wields it needs periodic time for perspectives. He needs to live. That's why retreats are good for political leaders, for governors. And we're not talking about a retreat where you are talking. You shut up as a governor. Even keep quiet as a president and bring in technocrats, bring in professionals, bring in other people and give them the opportunity. You need clarity. You need perspectives. Because what happens is that sometimes we're not able to see until it's too late. You know, focus has a blinding influence. While I'm looking at you, I'm not seeing my back. Is that not so? How do I now see my back? In order to have balanced perspective, I use the eyes of others. That's why they need, yes, you need to clap well. That's why people in office need wise counselors. But you know what happens here? They become psychopaths. They don't tell the man the truth. Of course, they are isolating from reality. They stay in the corridors of power and they are feeding them with lies about realities. Nigerians are complaining. Nigerians are crying out. There are issues everywhere and they isolate the person from the reality. They tell you, don't worry, you will win. Nobody in this country ever lose power. That is why, because this is the situation here, nobody in office should only listen to those ones around you. You have to develop mechanism for getting facts. Let me tell you what the Almighty God. A governor had a youth riot. The youth in the states rose against him. One of the former governors of this country. And I came to that state to do a project, I think, for the youths. So I heard what was going on. Of course, they went to the deputy governor's house to kill him and to burn his house. Security men whisked the deputy governor through the fence. And he escaped through the forest. And of course, they did damages there. And said the governor sent security agents to fight with the youths and all that. So I came. Anyway, he heard that I was in town. He invited me in one of the sessions to address his cabinet. So when I walked in there, I greeted him well, paid him all the respect. I said, Your Excellency, you don't understand this thing that you are using, this thing in your hand called power. He said, no, these youths, my political opponents are agitated. I said, that's not the truth. That might be part of the truth, but that's not. Why is it that they are listening to your opponents? So I now explained to him something. I said, try this within, when I leave here, just within this week. If it does not work, call me a liar. So I said to him, the Almighty God, the all-powerful, the all-wise, the owner of the universe, who does not need to be accountable to anybody, made himself a God that hears and answers prayers. If not, why are you praying? You know what he did? He created a mechanism whereby every citizen can talk. He created a posture that he's a listening leader. But he also defined that there are certain things he will not do. If you are doing evil, if you're, involved in all sorts of things, I will not hear your prayers. But if you adjust your ways, what he's saying is that my government will not support corruption. But if you adjust your ways, this government is here for you. But the one thing all of you need to know is that this government listens. And from what we get from you, we formulate response. That's what is called answered prayer. So I say, Your Excellency, invite all these youth tomorrow. Tell them nobody will touch you, no security will harass you. Even if you say anything, that you have the right to say your mind. The young people were skeptical because they thought you wanted to lure them to arrest them. They didn't know he has had a change of perspective. But finally, they agreed to come. And when they came, they were shocked. Governor showed them and addressed them as his people. He removed that talking down and talked to them and said, I'm so sorry. It's the people that represent me that messed up. And I'm now hearing what is going on, and I'm not aware of it. And I apologize because as long as it's my government, I take responsibility. Because I told him, I said, before they start reacting, there has been agitations for a long while. You are not listening. I said, once you listen to them, even if you have not done what they said, the tension comes down. So he now said to them, please, what exactly are the problems? You can talk to me. You don't need to be afraid of arrest. You don't need to be afraid of me. Say it exactly how you feel. People looked at themselves. That means this guy is not as bad as these opponents are telling us. It's not really. Then instead of attacking him, they now respectfully presented, because he respected them. Because respect is reciprocal. And they told him what and what. He has asked me, what if they make a request I cannot fulfill? I said, listen to all the requests. You don't have to meet all of them. Take a few that you know and do it. When he finished listening, he said, okay. One thing I'm promising you, government does not have all the resources to do everything you are asking, but you are going to see answers. I want you guys to know that this government is a government that listens and that will do something about the afflictions of the people. And that was it. They went back and formulated a few. And they tackled just two of those things. Everywhere the governor is going, the youth will be, this is our governor. They will be chanting, this is it, this is whatever. Some were even chanting at a point that is like a Messiah. He said to me, he called me, he said, I can't believe how fast this works. I said, because you can't be as wise as the man that suspended the universe. The response they were using before, force, gone, go and arrest the young people. He was getting the things worse. And his opponent will have sacked him from office using that. Power is for service. Any type you are given is for justice administration. So one of the things they've created for helping the man in power is helping him to gain back perspective. They lose touch with reality. They need time. There is, I think it's the president of Liberia, a lady. I don't know if she has handed over. I don't think so. But she's getting ready. I was talking about what she did. Because she came into power at a very dangerous time in the country. After all those Charles Taylor and all inherited a problem. And periodically, she would dress differently, go with few people, and go into the communities. Sit and listen. And they won't know that she's one. I don't know whether they used to give her a mask or what. And go there and have a feel. She will ride bus to understand what's happening with the transport sector. She will do. I know life is dangerous here in Nigeria. But what I'm saying is you have to have some other people who can give you correct perspective. You know what amazes me about Donald Dukes? I'm not saying he's a saint, but it amazes me about him. You go for Calabar Festival, that man walks in the streets, and the people love him. I have gone to interview the people. I don't understand. Do you know what it means after being a governor for 8 years that you can still walk in the streets without soldiers following you around? He walks in the street. He goes to dance with them. He does all the work. They do this run up to Budukachura and he runs with them. After being in office, will you be a free man or you will be in eternal prison? We're preparing the next people who will handle power. So you need to understand what has been going on. The second key that has been developed to keep power from destroying the handler and the people he's meant to serve with it is the issue of balance of power, sharing of power. It said once power is concentrated on one hand, it turns that virgin, that man with good intention, into a corrupt person. So, because of that, my friends, my brothers who are Muslims, you might not understand this, but please, let's not fight about it. The Almighty God created team leadership. He is the author of it. It's called Trinity. We might not understand the dimensions to this Trinity to that the signature is used in everything in creation. Let me give you an example. Atom, an element, at is electron, proton, and neutron, yet it's the same thing. A human being is a spirit being that has a soul that lives in a body, yet is one person. Okay, as I'm standing here now, I am a son, somebody's son. I'm a father, and I'm a husband, yet it's the same me. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism is monotheistic, not three gods. Three gods is idolatry. It's one God. But because of power, how is the Almighty God able to be the ultimate power and yet is not corrupt? He created some form of triangle. It's like a triangle. A triangle is one thing. If I bring a triangle, it's one thing. But he went to the three end and put, is the same being, but he put certain things here and put the other ones here and put the other ones here so they can balance each other. Look at light. Everything I see in creation has it. Look at light. You first has the flame. If you want something to shine, you first set it on fire. So, and it consumes a form of fuel. So you first have that flame. If it's a lantern, you light the wick. If it's a candle, you light that. But I'm telling you that this thing you see that is called electricity, something is burning that is now. So there's first that flame, that combustion, then there is the light. The light is the one you see that helps us see. But there's another component to it called heat that makes it a trinity. But yet it's one thing. Look at water. It's one thing, but it has eyes. And this has characteristics that is different from the liquid water. The liquid water flows, you pour it, but the other one is like stone. Then it has another dimension called vapor, yet it's one thing. There is no aspect of creation where you will not see the Trinity signature. No aspect. So, people that studied this, that's why they said democracy is the best form of government that human beings have first thought of. It's not a perfect system. It has problems, it has flaws. But one of the good things they achieved there is because of history, how power has destroyed. So they created a balance, they created a triangular point. Is one, for example now, how many governments do we have in Nigeria now? One government. We only have one government. Oh. It's President Buhari's government. We don't have three governments. But what they did, like a triangle, They took the judicial power, gave to the judiciary, headed by the chief judge of the federation. They took the legislative power, that is the power to make law. What they want, they are trying to achieve, is that the executive, the man that executes power, is like the CEO, chief executive officer in a country, in a company, in a business. The chief executive officer for a nation should not be the one formulating the laws, because he can make laws because of where he is. It doesn't matter how harsh it is on the people, he's exempted from it. So they want it to be another group that makes the laws. Then they even gave the execution of the laws to the judiciary, headed by the chief judge. And they supplied him the police and all of those other whatever that he needs. Because when the judge hears that thing, arrest him, 10 years imprisonment or death by hanging. He's not the one that go to do that. The police will take you. The prison wardens will take over from there. And then those agencies, institutions are created to back up the words of the judge. So the words of a judge are not mere words. Where, where the word of a king, there is power. Then they took the power of execution and gave to the presidents, so that with that we can be safe. Society will be safe, because the man can be a saint when he gets there, but if he doesn't have checks and balances, power destroys him. And now power destroys the people that are placed under him to serve. So even in leadership, whether it's leadership of a social organization, of a spiritual organization, a business, you see the business, when they put a CEO, he's not the ultimate power. They create a board, create a chairman there. They say, this one formulates the policies. This guy and his management team executes. Then you have another third dimension of power. The managers themselves now have what is called operational team. So you have leadership, you have management, you have operations. The same Trinity principle. Yet it's one company. So if a CEO start having problem, they know where to go to correct it. You go to the board. And if management or the operations are having problem, you know where to go. Approach the CEO. What if you're in a department in your bank, your manager there wants to sleep with you by force as a young woman? And sometimes it can even be a married woman, a young, beautiful woman. She has a husband, but because I work in a bank, my manager is victimizing me. If I don't sleep with him, things will not go well for me here. You get all kinds of appraisals because you want to be virtuous. Is there a redress for you? That's power corrupting a man that is holding it. But is there a place you can go to cry out and be delivered from the corrupting influence of power, so that it doesn't destroy you? It might finally destroy the man holding it, but sometimes it doesn't destroy them immediately. They will have destroyed many people. Hitler destroyed 6 million people before the United Nations. Okay, then the League of Nations came and destroyed them, because usually that's what happened. Saddam Hussein has destroyed a lot of people before finally NATO destroyed them. Napoleon, everywhere you find, they will have destroyed so many people before another power will rise from somewhere that will finally bring them to accountability. To prevent him from destroying innocent people before he finally answers, create checks and balances. I want to give you a secret. every young man here. And everybody here, it doesn't matter what your calling is in life. I'll give you that secret with a picture of a horse. A horse is a powerful creature. We talk about horsepower. Very powerful. If you jump on a horse without a bridle, that power is power out of control. Can throw you up, can even throw you down, march on you, and wound the man that is supposed to serve. A horse is supposed to serve us like a car. It's an instrument of transportation, but it's an animal. But instead of serving the carrier, it will throw you into the air, get you down, and ruin the person. So the way to get a horse to behave is where you get everybody in leadership to behave. The checks and balances. For the horse, you put bead on his mouth and put that rope. With that, you have control. And with your car that has horsepower, engine that can fire and not destroy the passenger is meant to serve, carry from one place to another. They put brakes and steering. You see, control. Power without control is destructive. Power without control is explosive power. It's like a bomb. It will ruin the man that has it. It will ruin the people he's meant to help. How many of you would like to enter a luxurious bus to Lagos with no brakes and steering? We hear about drones, that we have aircrafts that are unmanned, that fly, go to deliver bombs in certain places. That will be disaster if there is nobody manning it. So when they tell you that it's unmanned, don't believe them. The person manning it is on the ground. They just found a way to keep the pilot on ground, to use computer to control what is on air. That's all. They just change the location of the pilot, but there's still a pilot. If not, you will go and destroy the whole city and say you want to kill the soldiers or the army that you are targeting. Even with this, there's still periods where you hear about killing of civilians and other. What will happen without control? Power without control is destructive to the man that holds it, and he will destroy the people he's meant to serve. A father that has power, leadership in a home can ruin his family. For example, look at a man that is wayward, and when he carries HIV and come back, guess who he gives to first? His wife. He ruins innocent people that are under his protection. Look at a man, because men are given even muscular power. We're usually stronger than women, even though I've heard of a few women that beat their husbands, That's the exception. That means that in that case, the power is with the lady. The women have other type of power. They are very powerful. They say men are the head, women are the neck. Which one turns the other? That muscular power, he can turn it into beating his wife, being a bully at home. The children will be isolated. They have a father, but they don't have a father. They live in dysfunction. He can use his power, his words that can give self-confidence, self-esteem to his children. When they live in society, they are healthy emotionally. He can use his mouth and destroy their self-esteem, and they are insecure. You meet people like that. They don't have self-confidence. How will they be able to compete out there? Never ever think you're powerless. If you went to school, intellectual power. I'm sure you've heard that education is like a funnel. At the primary level, that's the wide part of the funnel. As you get to secondary level, it narrows. From when you get to university, it's like passing through only very few young people born in this country has access to tertiary education. And you are blessed to be among those few. You have power. What are you doing with it? You have money, you have power. You have talent, you have power. There are different types. What are you doing with it? I want to announce to you there will be a time of accountability. And accountability time will lead to promotion. There will be those after serving who will ask in future for them to come again. There's something the scripture said. Any king that favors the poor, his throne will last forever. That doesn't mean that he will keep ruling by himself, but people that are students of his style of leadership, people that are his proteges, will keep surviving him. A political party that wants to stay long should develop a quality of leaders that are servant leaders. Our former president, President Yaradua, came to power with that ideology. Well, he didn't stay too long. When it's all said and done in a nation, the only people who will remember, that the future generation will remember, will be the ones that serve, not the ones that occupied office. You see, this is so important because if we have one Buhari, it's not enough. He can't be in the states. He cannot be in the local government. He's not the one being the CEO of companies. He's not the one running our universities. We have vice chancellors there. There's power everywhere. One man is not enough. Every one of us has to take leadership and take responsibility for our sphere of life. We have to take responsibility for our families. You have to take responsibility for your organization. You have to take to be sure that the right things are being done. Don't concentrate power. And don't seek for third term and fourth term like Mugabe. Mugabe came in fighting for a good cause and ended up corrupt. Don't go for third term to raise others. One of the purposes of leadership is to grow other leaders. From day one, start grooming others. I even want to say that one of the greatest things our president, I know that age is not on his side, can do for us is to raise other men of integrity. Because what happens after he's gone? Somebody has come. So they will send us back to that ideology needs to be duplicated, multiplied. That's one of the reasons we are engaging you every year. For you to see the wisdom in values and virtues. And to see the wisdom in self-development. I'll end with this. But that's one of the wisdom that has been developed over the years. Handling power. You use something they call covenants, conventions, treaties, contracts, agreements to curtail how power is used. So it's from that we get a constitution. A constitution is a social contract between the government and the citizens. And usually what should happen in it, and that is the principle for developing a constitution. You don't let them develop it just to satisfy those in office. The first purpose for developing it is for the protection of the rights of citizens. Because they have found out, you take one of you and give him power. He uses the power to oppress his fellow men, citizens. But he was given that so he can serve them. You know why we have somebody powerful in front of the aircraft, the pilot, so he can serve the rest of us? Answer the question. Whenever you enter an aircraft, you sit down. Who are the ones that provide the services? The pilot and his air hostess. But they are the powerful people. They are also the ones that tell you, put on your seatbelt. If you don't, do you know that when a president enters an aircraft, he is a citizen? The president in the aircraft is a pilot. If that pilot wants, he can crash that president and all the other passengers into the Atlantic Ocean. And that's what some presidents and leaders have done with their nations. Crash the lives of young people, crash the hopes of millions of people with something you are giving to servants. Some spiritual leaders have done that. Some leaders of organizations have done that. So you find that airlines have conventions that govern it. The aviation industry has. Every area, you make rules and regulations. The major purpose, first, in the design of a constitution is to protect the right of citizens. Citizenship is power. When you are a citizen of any country, we should be proud of it. Nigerians should not be treated like slaves. Nigerians should not be treated like aliens. When people travel from other countries to come here, they should not have more power than us in our own country. I don't know if you know about the operating environment where we are. I'm sorry, I have white people we've invited. Pastor Andre, forgive me for what I'm about to say. I see my friend, forgive me. But here, we treat the expatriates well and then oppress our own people. Give the juiciest job and not saying treat the foreigners bad. You don't do that. Remember I said charity begins at home, but it must not stop at home. Is that not so? International relation begins with family relation, learning to relate with your brothers and sisters. That's the foundation of international relation. We learn it in the family. You have girls, you have guys, you have personality differences. Then you practice it in the society. You learn to deal with other tribes, other culture that are different from you. How to respect boundaries, how to respect other people. Then finally, as a nation, we learn to relate with other nations. It's the same thing. Love your neighbor as yourself. Summary of international relations. Nigeria, let's get our eyes together, and then when we do, let's help the rest of African countries. That's what it is. But then, one tribe, you have power. Don't concentrate it on your tribe. Bring services to your people, and then realize that what is good for the ganja is good. What is good for the goose is good for the... You do the same thing for everybody. You end up being father of a nation. That's, you live with honor and dignity that will last for. So, a convention is created. Can you see the different ones that have been developed at the international level? The League of Nations. When it failed and there was Second World War, they created United Nations. If you go there now in New York in that top, they said for the pursuit of world peace. They will turn their weapons of war into plowshares and farming instruments to curtail. Because if you don't have that international convention, you know what will happen? America's economy start dropping. They will just invade Nigeria, seize our oil. You don't have enough power to fight them. They have all the military power. They are superpower. Russia will invade Ghana. They just realized the other one will invade. The stronger nations will prey on the weaker nation to make cost check in how power is exercised. Now, the United Nations boasted that since its inception, they have never seen one democracy fight another democracy until Putin violated it and annexed Georgia. And you can see now he has gone ahead to annex a portion of Ukraine. Once you start wielding destructive power, forces are going to rise from quarters you know and quarters you don't know to finally bring you. You will fight the ones you think you can fight. There will be other ones that will finally bring you. That's why finally the man that is troubling the universe, Satan, will finally be arrested. His time is coming too. This is what you do in a constitution. You protect, majority of it should be for the protection of citizens. then a portion of it, a smaller portion, is for the protection of those people we give power to serve us. Let me tell you what it means. If you create a fire service and you don't create a lane through which, like BRT or whatever, through which they will get to where they are doing their job fast, and you say, no, we are all equal, and put them in the traffic, you have neutralized that power. When you have fire, you call them, they will be in traffic. By the time they get you, are dead. If you create an ambulance to help rescue, you see power we are giving. But you don't create a method through which they can get there. That's why you create a police force. They have to have ability, quick responsibility. You don't keep them in the traffic. So they give them sirens so that they can get the job done. Now, if you see a president passing, please clear for him. He is your servant. He is serving you. That's why if we're in the line in the airport, you notice that they don't keep the pilot and his air hostess behind to queue in the line. They find a channel through which they need to get there, warm the aircraft, get everything ready, get the food you're going to eat ready. Before you get in, everything is ready because they are there to serve you. But if you block them, the power that they're given to serve will not work. That's why we need security for the judges. They need police attached to them. You don't withdraw it because of the work they do. They sentence somebody to death. They are trying a very criminal case. They are going to send people to the house to assassinate the judge. So the people that wield power who serve should also be protected. That's why you hear the U.S. president travels with Airforce One, and there are things that are ready to defend that flight anywhere. Because it's not about the occupier of the office of President Obama. It's about, if he is down, it's a whole nation that is assaulted. You know, they were teaching us in international relations that when you slap an ambassador of a nation, you slap a whole nation. If the man is not in that office, you slap him, you slap a person. But if you slap him in office, you slap the nation he represents. And the superpower countries won't take it lightly. You know, I'm looking forward to when these truths will be imbibed in our national culture. A Nigerian in Iran, a Nigerian in Kuwait, a Nigerian in Ghana, a Nigerian in South Africa. Xenophobia or no xenophobia. You can't touch our citizens without our government reacting. Because our government that protects. And then power is, the Constitution also protects citizens from one another. Because among the citizens, some are more powerful, some are rich, some are not so rich, some are more connected, and everywhere you find power, people tend to use it to take advantage of the others. So it's to protect them. That's why we created the justice system. So another citizen start rising to take your land, to take your wife, or to, you go to the courts. You see why our judges have to be honest and just. And I love the principle on which the judicial system is built. That it's better to even let a criminal go for a while than to put one innocent person behind bars or to judge one innocent person. So that doesn't mean you are letting the criminal get away, but they have learned a secret that he will commit again. So they keep him under watch. They keep him under watch. In those nations that have the rule of law, you think you have escaped justice. And they might be watching you for 10 years, might be 5 years, might be 2 years. That day, nobody is watching. You go again. Caught in the very acts. They need that evidence to prosecute you. So in the Constitution, you now know why immunity clause is there for the president, for the governors. You know, they will be getting 1,000 lawsuits every week. They won't be able to do their job. They will be in court till their 4 years tenure expires. And there will be enough whatever until they won't do their job. See what is happening with the Senate. If the Senate decides to protect the Senate president and stand by him, Now, you know what will happen. That Senate House will not function. The whole energy will be concentrating on his self-defense or how to whatever than to do the job for which. Oh, let the president be passing. Let him brush my car. You will tell me we are both citizens. Constitution left method, we are equal. No, we are all equal as citizens, but in function, there has to be structure. You will go and take him to court. The man will have so many suits, he won't be able to do his job. That's why they need to give them security. That's why a lot of other things go along with it. I want us to have a nation that honor our leaders, that honor the people that serve us in the public arena. You don't want to clap about that one. I see how Nigerians treat our policemen. So the idea of police being your friend, but there's something I've learned. You get to police force, you wind down, you greet them. Officers, how are you? You see the attitude changes. How is your job? And then most of the time, you see the humane part of the police come out. But they are reacting to how we are treating them. I don't know who is the cause and who is the effect, but somebody has to stop it. Let's learn to treat our policemen rightly. When God made a constitution, he called it 10 Commandments. I noticed that what he did there is he gave 6 of the articles for the protection of human beings and only 4 for the protection of his divine government. You shall not have any other God beside me. Okay? No nation needs 2 governments running parallel. So only one person created us. Why should we make our own gods? What you made should worship you. What made you is what you should worship. If not, one day some people will start worshiping their computers and will start worshiping, it becomes a god. No. So he said, you don't make graven images, idols. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it. We'll have a day of worship every week. So the Muslims will have Friday. Christians will have Sunday, the Jews, Saturday. Nice. He wants a day dedicated to come and such thing. But he concentrated the rest of the constitution for our good. He said, thou shalt not kill. Who is going to die when they kill? God doesn't die. He's protecting. He's saying human life is sacred. Let's protect it. Since you can't make life, don't take it. Thou shalt not steal. When somebody walks and earns property, don't take it from him. Thou shalt not commit adultery. We do it every day. You go to a car shop to buy a car. And there are many varieties, options there. You don't go to a car shop and say, last week you sold Mercedes 500 to Mr. Okon. I'm here this week. That's the one I'm interested in. Sell the one, that one. Tell him to return it. That's the one I want. No. You go to what is in the market. Thou shalt not commit adultery. You want a wife or a woman or whatever. Go to the single market. Leave people's wives alone. Leave people's wives alone. Who is he trying to protect? God or us? Do you know how it hurts and damages a man if his wife is sleeping around? If you know what it does to a man's ego. If you know what it does to a family. Us. It's protecting us. It's a very terrible womanizer I know in Lagos. But my God, you can't near his daughters. You can't even greet his wife well. That not, at least in the north here, there's certain decorum when a man is relating with a woman. There you can shake hand, but he goes after people's wives, people's daughters. He goes after girls that he is old enough to be their father. One boy was chasing the daughter. The boy even approached me. He said he's serious, that he wants marriage. The man brought a gun and almost. So what I now learned finally in all of this is that apart from these laws written in Quran or in the Bible, God has written his moral laws in our conscience. We actually know what is right. You claim you don't know when it's turned against you. A politician that is so oppressive, he says he doesn't know oppression is wrong. Watch until another government comes and they want to oppress him. He now start crying for justice. Are you seeing what is happening? You think you have right to take another person's life. The situation will come when it's your life to be taken. You now realize this is unfair. This is not just. Look into your conscience and you will see the laws of God written. And how you know it. Yes. It's a good place to clap. And how you will know it is put yourself on the receiving end. Do unto others as you want them to do to you. Let's take an example. If, because I'm born a Christian, I believe I should kill the Muslims. Do you know that my mother could have been from the north or my father, and I would have been born a Muslim? All my life, what did I do wrong? And you believe you should kill me. If a Muslim believes he should kill a Christian, what did he do wrong? And it's the same big man up there. What did he do wrong? For just being born. Okay, I'm from this tribe. I believe I should. What did the person do wrong for belonging to another tribe? I could have been the one born in that tribe. The shoe could have turned. And then we have a few of our countrymen who share from both angles. You have families where you have both Muslims and Christians. You have families where they share tribes. We have religious, we have tribal, we have racial. Okay, white and black. Do you know that it's just skin color? Oh, when I go to Dubai, they love white. 2015, white. And I look at them with their royal, the way they dress in the middle is royal. I think it's even closer to how people dress in heaven than any other thing I see on earth. Is so royal. And then you see those SUVs, they're also white. They like it. But if I want to import a car from there, I'll ask for black because I'll use it in Nigeria. Okay, so I get, let's assume, which car? 2015, what is it? Lexus, Jeep. This one is black, this one is white. But the same car. How thick is the paint? Don't you guys understand that this thing is just paint? Just paint. You kill your brother because of this. It's just paint. Why different paints? Because God knows that people like varieties. One man's meat is another man's what? Oh, one of my friends in Lagos bought this red SUV. And I said, oh my God. How can a man buy red? I thought you could buy red for your wife. What? He said, that is my number one color. And I can't understand. In my eyes, the quality of the car dropped. The same car. But if you can just put black on it, the beauty of this car. That's me. I might like a Wedu. You like Amara. Somebody likes a Gusi. Somebody likes a Dikaiko. But let's love one another. Which is why you should never despise yourself. A medical doctor came, he said, please, doc, I want you to help me to find a wife. I want this kind of ladies you guys are training, because your girls are well trained. They are not wayward. They are not. I want those kind of. So help me. I said, okay, what kind of specification? He said, whatever you do, even though I want content, character, virtue, all that, I want a woman that will respect me. But whatever you do, she must have fat legs. I have never heard of that all my life. A practicing doctor, I said, doc, are you all right? He said, if she doesn't have fat legs, I will not be. He said, fat legs, presses my button, then. That's how I went for youth, whatever, and I'm looking for at the legs. Only to truly find out that there are girls with very fat legs. My other friend came, he said, no matter, I like both content and container. Don't tell me only content that she's a good girl, I want the container to be there. So I said, okay, I thought he was going to talk about very pretty. He said, no, it's not the pretty thing. He said, hip. So after some of these experiences, I began to understand the Creator God. So he made the varieties because he knew that we have different appetites. My wife is sitting there. When you see her now, she looks tall. 6 feet was added from under. 6 inches. I don't know what it is about me. With all my university, everything, what gets my attention is dynamite in small packages. I don't know why I'm like that. Who can explain to me why I'm like that? Why all those tall? Why all the... Yet, there is another man, if you are not tall like that, it won't catch his attention. God designed you for a market. There is a market for you. There is a market for you. Never despise yourself and start regretting that I'm this way. Oh, haven't you seen our Airforce? That they are not the big. There are some politicians. There are politicians with their big tummy and all that. But yet, action governor. And then you find some others. They have the body. They deliver. It's content that will determine that. God made us in different ways. He made us different. He made us different so that we can add value. Because if you are like every other person, you will not be appreciated. Your difference is your point of contribution. This is how I sign off. The greatness of Nigeria is in this diversity that we have. The Igbo man with his business. The Yoruba man with management. Our South with their entertainment. How can Nigeria be formed without all those entertainment, all those are comedians from Owerri and all that? Our Summer with their pastoral. From looking after cattle, you learn how to look after people. Do you know that all the great leaders we read about in the Bible, like David, he looked after sheep. Moses, he looked after sheep. What God does is that he gives them sheep as training to develop leaders that can lead people. I have discovered from my little life I've lived, most of the most trusted friends I have are from the north. I tell you something, it's like that. I don't know why. I don't know how that became. But it's like that. most of the time when I need management, I need people with organizational skill, I look for, we have a lot of our brothers from Southwest that have gone very far. The strength of Nigeria is in our diversity. We do it whenever we play World Cup. It's happening in some areas, some sectors. The movie industry, some of it is there. Why can't we do it in our national life? And we'll become world champion players as a nation. Because what made America great is all the contribution for different countries of the world. Europeans came, Chinese came, Pakistanis came, Nigerians are there making America great. They give everybody equal playing ground. That's what they give to citizenship. That's what we must do for our people. These, our young people, will take this country to heights that we cannot imagine. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
We are one great mighty nation of the peoples of the earth. May we live and die in service to humanity. On this day, let's raise our banner as we follow truth and love in this land forever blessed by God, a home for all. God bless Nigeria, my home, sweet home. God bless Nigeria, my home, sweet home. We are one great mighty nation of the peoples of the earth. May we live and die in service to humanity. On this day, let's raise our banner as we follow